Hello everyone. Glad to see you all again. Hope all of you are fine and doing great. This is Palak Mantri, Developer Student Club Lead at VJTI Mumbai.
Hello everyone, I am Harsh, DSC lead of DSC ADG ITM. We welcome you all back to the day 4 of DSC WOW. DSC WOW is a collaborative event of 120 plus DSCs across India. We brought you a week-long session in which we had 4 days of sessions and workshops, including 2 days of hackathons. So don't forget to join in for hackathon as well, which starts from tomorrow.
These hackathons would be judged by highly experienced industry experts and Google developer experts.
To us, the developers and tech enthusiasts, this is much more than a few workshops and a hackathon. It is a place where imagination meets through technology of tomorrow. Thanks to all our sponsors. Thanks to all our sponsors. Scalar, our title sponsor. Mysuru Tourism, our platinum sponsor. Airmeet and Pratilipi, our platinum sponsors as well. And not to forget our gold sponsor, Appstone. So we hope you all are excited for today's session. We have an amazing session planned for you to get valuable insight from different domains. Handing over to Palak now.
So, beginning with the first session. Our first session is Managing Work-Life Balance by Googlers. And we are honored to welcome our speakers for the day, Siddhant Agarwal sir and Nikita Gandhi ma'am. Siddhant sir is ACM's distinguished speaker. He is managing developer relations at Google. He is a speaker for AI, ML, Cloud, and currently leading 275 plus developer student clubs in India. Nikita ma'am is a community manager at Google. She is a Flutter enthusiast, managing Google Developer Group Cloud program in India. Welcoming our speakers, aka Googlers, and our hosts Avnish and Vaishnavi for this panel discussion.
All right.
All right.
Uh,
Uh,
welcome
Welcome
everyone.
everyone.
DSC WOW
DSC
Day.
WOW Day.
And I
And
think
I think
there's
there's
some,
some
Echo is
echo
at
is at
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think
You need
someone is,
you need to close the YouTube tab if it's open in one of the browsers.
yeah, exactly. All right. So welcome to everyone to DSC WOW Day 4. And I'm Vaishnavi Devedi. I'm the DSC lead at DSC IIT.
And I'm Avnish Singh. I am lead at Birla Institute of Applied Sciences.
And today we have Siddhant Agarwal, Developer Relations at Google India, and Nikita Gandhi, Community Manager at Google India, to interact with us. Welcome, Siddhant and Nikita. Thank you so much for joining us. How's it going?
Going good so far. Thanks so much, Avinash and Vaishnavi, for introducing both of us. It's really a pleasure and honor to be over here. Super excited for this session. Let's see what's in the store for us. What about you, Nikita?
What about you, Nikita?
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for considering us for this session and really excited to see the energy pumping in the audience. I was about to say that it's end of the year and perhaps we all are tired and all of us are looking for a break. But doesn't look like the audience is tired in spite of day 4 at DSC Let's Wow. So super excited to talk to all of you today.
All right. So before we start with the session, I just wanted to ask that, how does it feel like to be Siddhant Agarwal, developer relations at Google India? How does it feel like to have such an amazing position of responsibility?
So I think it's kind of I'm like I'm totally blank over here. It feels like just a normal human being. Yeah, like of course, when you're at such a role, you have a lot of responsibilities with you. You're managing a community. You need to maintain your personal and professional balance, your mental balance, your physical balance, everything. Manage the community altogether. So of course it's a bigger responsibility in hand, but it feels good, of course, working with Google and working in this program specifically, leading communities, which I've been doing for the last like 7 8 years now. So like on the other side of the table now, more in terms of like managing these programs, community programs. It feels good, of course. But yeah, like I'm kind of blank over here. I think it's more of a usual notion for me. Whatever I do it with like utmost honesty and passion. Like before DSC program, I was taking care of GDE program and then TFUGs as well, and recently transitioned to DSC program. So it feels kind of same that I'm still connected with the community somehow. I'm not getting disconnected from you all, which is fantastic. I think it's kind of now family. So I had to describe in one word. Like it's basically family, which I have like with the family is like increasing every day, every year on year.
All right, that's a very modest answer. Thank you so much, Siddharth.
So even I would like to ask same question to Nikita ma'am. Like she is also managing communities. She is like also community manager at Google, and we have seen her organizing such great events. So how is it like to be Nikita Gandhi ma'am? Like same question I would ask to you as well.
I can see Sid laughing. I don't know which incidents he's thinking of. Uh, but yeah, before even I come to your question, first of all, the rule over here is no sir, no ma'am. So simply call us by our first names. Um, so yeah, there are a lot of memories, and I'm sure Sid thought of something when you asked this question. There are a lot of fun moments, I would say. There's nothing overwhelming, or there's nothing that makes us proud about our names or the work we do. In fact, we are proud about the contributions that you make for the community and the way you make time out of your busy schedules, managing your academics, personal lives, and then contributing to the community, creating an impact at such a large scale. So it's other way around. We would say we are talking to superheroes today, and I'm sure a few of them are listening to us. Few of them are backstage helping manage this event. So yeah, consider one amongst us, one amongst you, and we all are equal.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. That's like really great. And yeah, so this was like both are like a brand name to us, like Nikita Gandhi, Siddhant Agrawal. These things like just enlighten our face, and we are very happy to that we get to interact with you, and we are on live, and this so much audience is out there. So yeah, it feels so good to be a part of such organization and community. So moving forward, I have a question for both of you. Like Google hires the best of the best. So does it get too competitive or overwhelming at the times to be a part of an such an organization, like where everyone is not like we select only the cream out of the best that is out there? So how is it like to be does it get really very competitive? You always have to be productive at things and like give your best. So what is it like?
Okay, I can go first and talk about it. I don't think so. It's about being competitive, or like as Nikita said, like that we get overwhelmed. Of course, we do get overwhelmed by the contributions that you all make, but it's never about competition among us, like among me and Nikita, or with other team members, or with people who are getting recruited as part of our team. It's never the case. Like uh, just like communities, we believe in collaboration, and that's the motto of the team as well. Like whatever we do in a collaborative way. Of course, like whatever we do and we try to do, we put in our best of best. That's the ultimate aim for everyone. But like we never think in a competitive spirit that hey, I'll do good, so I'll be here for a long time and so on and so forth. It doesn't work out that way for us, at least. Like we we really, so one thing I really like is the team that we have. We really cherish the team. We all collaborate with each other, work together wherever like anyone is feeling low or get stuck, like needs additional bandwidth, additional support. um, like people are ready to just like jump in if they have bandwidth, or even if they don't have bandwidth, they are just like ready to just jump in and help out, support. So that's the best part of our team. So, and when it comes to like getting hired at Google, of course, like things are competitive out there in the market. Um, but if I talk about like the openings in our team specifically, I don't think so. We get to know like who is getting interviewed or stuff. So I think we can ignore the competitive part over here, like totally negate it.
Sure, sir. So that was a really good insight. Even like that should be like this is the teamwork or the art that should be there inside. This is the spirit that we should always follow. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Also,
I
like
echo to a
what I
lot of.
feel. Sorry, I
Sorry,
interrupted
Vaishnavi,
you.
go ahead. No, Vaishnavi, go ahead. I'll go after you.
I think that's a radio side.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think this is just a dead end. So I'll
yeah,
go
that would be great.
first. Uh, Yeah, so I echo to a lot of things Sid said. There's very less competition around within the team itself. The reason being, we are great friends even before we are colleagues, and we know each other so very well that we respect each other for the different achievements that we have in our lives from the background we all come from. So, despite of the fact of coming from a team which is diverse enough, what really keeps us together is the bonding that we have with each other. Before joining Google, I think till a lot of my interview stages, I did not know that I'm going through interviews, and I just thought I'm chatting with few people for them to understand my profile. So I never knew it was an interview, and that pressure was never there. And again, like when I came to Google, I saw so many great minds, and I was honestly afraid if I'll be able to do my best. But every day was an opportunity to learn from the best, and in fact, I would say working with the best minds has helped me really grow and become better every day. So yeah, this is all about the team culture, which is really well set, and that really helps in coping with the competitive spirit around in the world.
All right, that's really interesting actually, and quite inspiring to be part of such a great team. And among all of these things that we do, like in the especially in the lockdown period, it's really difficult to sort of be productive with all the work that has been going on. So, what is something that you do to in order to stay productive in these times? Like, what any tool that you use, or any mechanisms or practices that you might use in order to be productive in general?
Sid, do you want to go first?
So I think like feel free to just go on. I can add in to it.
Yeah, so a lot of productivity comes from planning your day well, and keeping in mind what are your milestones. And these milestones need not be long-term goals, but set them in a short-term way, which means how do you plan to set your week? What are the things that you would like to finish in the particular week? And then just chop it down to what you do, what are the tasks do you want to finish on a particular day, Then also slot it down even more further on what you would like to finish in that given hour. And then, given in this online world, there is a lot of fatigue because there are a lot of calls, and the only way you can talk to people is scheduling calls. But you have to be mindful enough which calls are important, which can be postponed, and accordingly schedule them so that you can use most of the time to basically finish off your whatever tasks that you had planned for that given week. And yeah, in the end, it's also about like going beyond the work hours sometimes, because there is a lot of work that you need to finish. Working with communities is a different thing because communities are mostly active after our office hours, so it takes a couple of bandwidth, and those things are always there. So I'll not say that I'm the best person when it comes to being very productive during my work hours, because there are no limited work boundaries that we have set for ourselves, being community managers.
All right, that's interesting. What about you, Siddhant?
So, plus one to Nikita, we usually plan it in that same fashion. Like we have our long-term goals and we have our short-term goals. We know like if it's something a project that we want to finish, we have our own checkpoints. Then it's a monthly checkpoint or like a 3 month task. We then narrow it down to a 1 month. Then we further narrow it down to a 1 week, and then in that particular week on that day, what we're gonna do and achieve. So for me, in particular, I'm kind of like a heavy user of like four or five tabs are like almost open throughout whatever I do. One is my Gmail, one is my Google Chat, third is uh, my Slack window, which I usually use for connecting with leads, facilitators, and everyone. And of course, there's always a Google Keep option open. Like keep a Google Keep. I'm a very powerful user of Google Keep. I use it heavily. Fifth is I keep a random tab of Google Sheet open, which is like to add in anything like a Google Sheet or a Docs. But usually for me, my Gmail acts as like my mail inbox acts like a to-do list. So I am planning to achieve a zero inbox sometime soon. Hopefully, I was trying this last year. I didn't achieve it. Hopefully this year I'll achieve zero inbox. So my inbox is like my to-do list. So if a mail comes, um, and it's my inbox, I have to just read. No action to be taken. I just like read it, archive it, like put it into a different folder. Or if I need to take any action, I just take action, respond, and then move it to a different folder or label. But if there's something that I will respond at a later point of a time, I just keep it in my inbox. So that acts like my to-do list. I try to finish up those mails as soon as possible, like comments, whatever it is. I keep it over there, and then I plan accordingly my day. Okay, I need at least like an hour for this task, so I just block my calendar, put an hour's time that I will not do anything else. I'll just do some or like, work on that area. So, and as soon as I'm done with that mail, I just delete it or just like archive it, whatever I need to take action on, and I keep on like removing mails from my inbox. Hopefully, I was pretty clear, like um, near to reaching a zero inbox. I had just two mails last 2 days ago, and now my mailbox is still flooded back again. I don't know if I'll be able to achieve my zero inbox target by the end of the year or not, but let's see.
Yeah, let's hope that you do.
Yeah, let's hope that
But
you do. But yeah, I
yeah,
was just saying Sid is really good in managing his inbox. So actually, you should ask him for a few tips on how he manages his Gmail, because I've seen him keeping it very organized. And yeah, I can proudly say I re zero inbox this week. So Sid, I have bet you in that race. I'm ahead of you.
Good job, good job. I'm trying my best to just get into that zone where I don't have any single mails coming at least for 24 hours. But I don't think so it ever happens. One sooner or later you just get in another hour you get a mail. So or almost on a daily basis we get 100 to 200 mails bare minimum.
Yeah, that must be a
Yeah,
daunting
so
task to
the
go through all that.
right.
All
So
right.
the key takeaway could be the tagline here could be that with big power comes big loads of emails and in the inbox. So yep, good.
Yeah, that is pretty accurate. All right. So moving on, like as you've been part of this community like for a very long time, like managing so many communities and being a part of the whole developer ecosystem. Obviously, you've given a lot of talks and many like technical talks and stuff, and you've been speakers at very huge conferences as well. So how do you prepare for these talks and like how do you sort of cater to the audience that is going to be there in that particular event? So how do you do that?
Yeah, so I'll take this first to do the honors. So, honestly speaking, yes, we do engage with a lot of developers at different conferences, and there are a variety of developers that we meet. Uh, but the good thing is, this gives us an opportunity to speak about different things. So this is like today's session is the first time I'm ever speaking about productivity and how to maintain work-life balance and how did we cope up through this difficult year. So yeah, when different audiences come for different reasons to listen to you, this gives us an opportunity to present our thoughts in different areas and also connect with different types of developers to understand what they are thinking and helps us prepare for the next talk. So this is how we actually prepare ourselves. A lot of times it's candid enough when we are for lightning talks. It's mostly candid and we really don't press too much because we like to be honest about our opinions and thoughts coming in. When it comes to tech talks, speaking about different technical topics, it's a lot of practice. Like personally, I do a lot of sessions on Flutter. I do write blogs in my free time and do some workshops as well. So here's the key, which helps me prepare is I think on in a way that the person who's come to listen to me has really less understanding about the topic, and how can I make them understand the topic in a way that they've never heard about it before. So consider you are teaching tech to your parents who have never used like something like who've never used programming before. So how would you explain it to them? This is something I would do if it were a tech talk. And yeah, that's how it is, being as candid as you can.
Yeah,
And what about you?
adding on. So usually for me, again, it kinds of depends on what kind of audience it is, what type of talk I'm doing. For lightning talks, usually we just go candid. Uh, but when it comes to technical talks, I plan the talk not well in advance, but like a night in advance. I I try to block my time, do things in advance, but it doesn't work out. Whatever I have done so far, like the talks that I've prepared, it happens that I'm preparing that a night before or on the same day itself. It almost 90% of the time it happens like that. Very rarely it happens that I'm planning in advance because I feel kind of my productivity increases when I'm doing things that are under pressure or late at the moment. So yeah, I kind of don't plan my talk, but I just kind of whenever I get to know that okay, I need to deliver a talk on something totally new, a different topic, I kind of think of the storyline, like what's the pieces would be, uh, and then just like join those pieces when I'm like sitting in front of the system and working on the deck. But in my mind, I just like keep whenever I used to get time, I just like surf on internet, find out what I can add. So yeah, that's that. So I just like think of those pieces which I want to put and just combine them, put them into a story format when I'm actually working on the deck. But usually it happens the night before.
All right. I mean, those are really good tips because I mean, even as DSC leads, we have to organize many events, and I guess these tips are gonna help us a lot in the future. And definitely, like teaching your parents how to code, it's like it's not an easy task. Honestly, I've tried. So, so yeah, moving on to the communities aspect, like at times while handling such large communities and ecosystems, so many different iterations of developer communities, DSCs and GDEs, GDGs. So these are pretty diverse in nature, and it's natural that there are some conflicts that occur between the community members or the moderators, and like how to sort of adhere to the guidelines that the company has given, and like how do you actually handle these kind of situations, because getting multiple requests from different people about different things, and like how to go about different things is like it might be a little annoying at times, considering that even in the DSA, many people ask a lot of doubts a lot of times in different ways. So how do you handle those kind of situations? How do you keep your cool, or like and like move forward with it?
Uh, so I can answer this question. Honestly speaking, conflicts are everywhere. It can be your home, it can be your friends, it can be your professional working team. Conflicts are everywhere. And most of the times we've seen that two parties who don't agree with each other are able to resolve the conflicts by themselves, by talking to each other, clearing the misunderstandings that they have. So there are very few times when the conflicts are critical, or they cross the code of conduct, and we need to jump in to those conversations. In conversations like these, we try to examine every detail as much as we can, so that we can do justice to both the sides who don't agree with each other. A lot of times it's difficult to see what's happening on either side of the world, because we were not involved when those conflicts happened. But in the end, we like to do the right things in the right way, so we invest all of our energy and bandwidth to make sure that people who are a part of this ecosystem feel safe and are comfortable around with people around them. And wherever there is a breach in code of conduct, we definitely don't tolerate situations like these and take strict actions in those cases. So yeah, and around your question of when people reach out to us at different timings, this is my personal theory. Yes, people would reach out to you in different timings, because in the end, this is community stuff that they are doing, which is very voluntary, and they would do this in their free time, which is totally understood. But I'd make sure when I'm replying to them, I'm in the right state of mind, because a lot of times I would be into something else and my priorities are very different. It could be a bad day for me as well, and the frustration could hit someone else. Or I would be in different mentality, and if I don't give the right answer, this would also make the person feel bad. So we try to empathize as much as we can. Sometimes, this would just make the relation go worse. So even if it's a working time and I know that I'm not in the right state of mind because my priorities are something else, I would refrain myself from responding, so that I am at my best when I'm talking to the individuals.
All right. What about you, Sadan?
No, I think Nikita covered up pretty much everything what even I kind of follow. Um, like think of it, for any organization or for any community program, there needs to be code of conduct in place. Which is like, think of it like a charter. Think of it like some guidelines which the members have to follow. And why they are essential? Because if you don't have like a code of conduct, people will put in obscene content, or they will try to like put in some things which, like, people who are dedicated to the community or dedicated to that particular community or to the program might not like it, and they will feel their experience is not good, and they will start dropping. Now, to ensure that the folks who are serious and they get the optimal experience, um, you need to ensure that the code of conduct is in place, one. And second, you need to ensure that no one is violating that code of conduct. Like, you have to act like a moral police at that, like, some point of time, that to ensure that people are not violating that code of conduct. It's a tough task. Like, how do you classify that whether the people have violated or not? Sometimes you tend to ignore things, sometimes you kind of take strict actions, but you look on both sides of the coin. You see, like, what's the intent, and whether it's really harming um, to one or to more people. And then you try to hear both sides of the story. You hear the person who actually violated the code of conduct, and you also hear the person who felt that this person violated, and what's the thought process behind that person who is complaining against it. So it's like, and then you take a call, like, what should be the next steps going forward. It varies in situation to situation. It's not always that you take like totally strict actions. Sometimes with mutual discussion and everyone's agreement, you just come to a common ground, and you kind of agree that the next, like in future, this occurrence will not happen. So it's not always that you take a firm ground that, hey, you have to expel someone from the program, or to ban it, or like stuff like that. uh, so it's tough, but you have to do it, because that's our task. And somewhere, if it's not me, there would be someone else in the program, because we are ultimately managing the program. So someone is there, just like in organization, there would be someone on a senior leadership level who is managing that no one breaks that code of conduct, no one violates that code of conduct. So that's that. The second thing about like people contacting at odd hours, I echo what Nikita said. Like, if we are not in a right frame of mind, it would be tough for us to respond. So, like, we all are human beings, and we go through various challenges, be it personal, be it professional. So we have to make sure that we have our own calm and composure when we are responding and working. So that's where a lot of times you might not find our response immediately. You might find it a bit delayed. You might have taken break in, like, from work. We just want to like stay away from the screen because it's too much overwhelming for us already. So uh, people contacted off odd hours, if we feel that yes, we can respond to that query at that point of a time. It's not urgent, but or maybe urgent, we just like do that. But if in case we feel that that if we can't respond, or if the query can wait until tomorrow or the next day, next working day, then probably we just like ask the person, like, if to put it over mail, or just to reach back the next working day. That's how we usually, like, at least I usually do. Like, if I'm in the right frame of mind, I kind of respond directly at that point of a time. If it is really urgent, it might be a blocker. If not, then I like kind of advise folks to just put it into the usual work hours. But yeah, of course, as what Nikita said, it's community. You all are doing work voluntarily. You are doing out of your academic schedule, and to ensure that it's not that I'm like very firm in the sense that, hey, only 9 to 6 you can contact me, nothing after 6 p.m. So it doesn't work out that way, because you folks will be finishing your academics, let's say at 5 or 6, and you can contact me only after that time. So based on my work schedule and based on my frame of mind, I just kind of take an action whether I need to respond now or whether I need to take some time off the screen and then respond to you.
So that's really good to hear about that, and lots of things to take at once. So yeah, definitely these are things that you learn from experience, definitely. So it was great to learn in this live session. And moreover, like I have this question. This was asked like multiple times in the chats that we rolled out and the things that we rolled out about this session. So multiple folks are asking this, and I want to know about that. So how was it like to have that at Google email ID when for the first time when you had that a Siddhant at google.com or Nikita Gandhi at google.com? So how was it like? Like, did you were like you folks are like showing off with your friends? Okay, so see, like whenever you want to contact me, this is my email ID a Siddhant at google.com. Or like it's really great to have such, like, it's a brand name in itself and you have that email ID. So how is it like?
Yeah, I think it definitely feels good. Like Google is, of course, a dream company for any software developer out there. It feels good to have a google.com domain. But I just want to like put this across that if in case you don't get a google.com domain, it's fine to use just a gmail.com domain, but you're still doing good. The work that you matters. Like there are a lot of non-googlers out there who are doing like tremendously good, and be it like not just like IT, in non-IT domains also. It doesn't mean that they are no less good. But of course, like it feels good that you're part of this great organization. And the folks who couldn't make it, they don't get it, don't feel disheartened. It's what my advice. Um, Strive for it, go for it. Like you definitely try your best to land up a job. But if you don't get it, you should not get disheartened. You tried everything and still you didn't get it. It's fine. Like failures happen. Like we all go through a lot of failures in our life. But don't get stopped with the fact that hey, I didn't get a google.com domain. I didn't land a job at Google. So that's the end of the thing. It's not the end of the thing. It's not the end of the road. Even if you are at Google, you need to keep on exploring yourself, upskilling yourself. There's like you just don't end up like, for example, if I just join Google and I don't do anything, I don't upskill myself, like will I be able to succeed further? I won't be. So I have to keep upskilling myself as well. So be it within Google, be it outside Google, you have to keep like working on your own self.
Okay, so what about you, Nikita ma'am?
Yeah, so honestly speaking, I was very happy to get that name, that email address. The honest reason being, when I was young, I always used to write this email address, which came out to be true. So I actually used to write Nikita Gandhi at google.com, and that was the exact email address that I got. So it was like an overwhelming feeling, where your dream came true, just like that shakalaka boom boom pencil where you draw something and something comes out in real. So yeah, that was like really amazing. But echo to what Sid said, folks who are not folks who don't have at the rate google.com address doesn't mean they are not doing great in their lives. In fact, a lot of people are doing a lot of stuff without any brand name associated. So yeah, there's no differentiation on those lines.
Okay, so yeah, that's really great to know about it. And definitely this Shakalaka Boom Boom Pencil wala was a really nice joke. I hope folks didn't get it like it really worked that way. Yeah, so that was really good. Another question
I
that
think
I
only kids will understand that joke.
yeah. So definitely
No, we will because we've also watched that show. Like even our generation has watched that show when we were
yeah.
like kids. So yeah.
So we vibe at the same frequency. So maybe someone would try that tonight. Okay. So yeah. So when it was your first day at Google offices, so we have many thoughts before that. Right before entering you got the Google job. You are entering the premises of Google. There will be employees out there and all the new work culture that you will be entering. So there will be many myths or multiple things that you might have thought that yeah, their set of expectations or things out there. So what was that one thing that was really embedded into your mind before entering the Google, but the day you entered the Google workflow, it was totally changed and something else was the reality? So what would be that one thing?
I think that's a preconceived notion outside Google that we don't do anything. Googlers just like sit back and enjoy.
I didn't understand.
Sorry, even the Google Assistant didn't understand that. That's a preconceived notion that usually Googlers just chill. They don't have too much of work. Algorithms are doing their stuff. You don't. You have a lot of other folks to just delegate things and stuff. Uh, but I think that's the other way around. Um, like it's the work is quite overwhelming. We're quite occupied with a lot of other things, and we keep on brainstorming on new initiatives that we want to take up. So work never ends, despite the fact that we feel that hey, that we'll get at least like a month of a low work. It doesn't work like it doesn't happen. Like at least for 2 years of my joining with Google, uh, like the work has never stopped. Every week we say okay, the next week would be a bit lighter. It doesn't work out. So yeah, I think outside Google we used to feel that hey, join here, no, we'll just relax. We'll just things will move on a like a easy ride. You're just like cruising through it. It turned out to be a roller coaster ride after I joined Google.
For me, honestly speaking, I did not have many expectations because there was hardly any time before I got my job offer letter and I had to join. So in between that, the only thing that I knew about Google premises was people sit on bean bags and work. So on my first day at work, when I was told that this is your desk, I was like, oh, where do I find my bean bag, and how do people identify the bean bags in so many bean bags? So that was the only puzzle that I had, that where can I find my bean bag, because I don't want that table chair wala setup. So yeah, it was as simple as that for me.
Cool. So really great to know these stuff and some inside talks from the Google. So that's very rare to get sight of. But yeah, it was really great to have you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So,
think we all enjoyed.
yeah. Okay. So, before we sort of conclude the session, we just like one piece of advice from both of you, that like for us, for our audience in general, like how should they go ahead in life, or about anything that you feel is
Even
important.
like we are having a hackathon tomorrow. So what should be like a fan advice or tip
Yeah.
for that should be implemented?
Mhm.
I can go first. So communities give you a lot of opportunities, and the name Google sounds fancy, but Google offers a lot more to its communities, and that is what you all can leverage and make the most out of. So, in this online world where there is a lot of chaos, a lot of events happening, there is a lot of fatigue, we all are tired sitting at home. It's important to take care of your own well being and do what really makes you happy. Meet with a lot of people, understand their lives, because that gives you a perspective how better your life is, and there is so much that you can do to make others' life better. So find opportunities with every type of people you meet to make your purpose of life even more stronger. Being a little selfish, I hope you all don't mind, but there are two upcoming events in the coming year. One is Chrome Dev Summit Extended on 9th of Jan. I can share the link with all of you in case you are interested in registering. Um, so yeah, the registration's open tomorrow. And there's another event called as Cloud Community Days India, which is happening on 22nd and 23rd of Jan. This is a mega event where a lot of Googlers and community experts are going to help you elevate your journey with Google Cloud and certifications around that. There are a lot more offerings on certifications, sponsorship on certifications, job offers that will be available on the portal. In case you're interested, the link is cloudcommunitydays.in. So feel free to go to the website and register yourself and make the most out of uh, these campaigns which are already there in plans. And good luck to DSC WOW. Thank you so much for all the awesome work that you've done. It was a super hit with all the efforts that you all have put together. Thank you.
So, Siddhant, sir, same question for you. Like, what would be your final piece of advice for us?
Okay, so no shameless plug over here, just like Nikita. Uh, okay, kidding. I usually I don't give advice. I let folks follow whatever they want. But I kind of tell this to everyone that follow your own journey. Don't follow someone else's journey. This is just a general tip. I've seen people say that, hey, this person did this and landed up over here. It's good that you get inspired by someone else, but don't follow that person's journey. That person might have different struggles, might have a different like learning process. If you start following that person, that you might land up somewhere else. So come up with your own life journey. It's okay that you have a very different path on how you go through your various struggles, or with your learning, with your knowledge process, or with your jobs, internships, whatever it is. Like uh, it's fine. Whatever you do, it's good if you do it with your passion. Um, so yeah, that's that. And as Nikita said, like Google does sound fancy. There are a lot of opportunities that we have, but also think about your own mental well-being. It's really important. Like even at Google, we take like we try our best that if we feel exhausted, we just like take break off completely off screen. So even for you, like it's tough times. We all know this. We are always hooked to our telephones or mobile phones or TV, Netflix. But take time off from those devices. Spend some time with family, or even if you don't want to spend time with anyone else, just like keep meditating, keep yourself calm. It's really important in these times. Do nothing. It's okay, but take break. Um, that goes in, like taking break goes in for your career as well. If you feel that things are not good, take break. It's okay. You can come back with more energy. You can do wonders when you come back with like that energy. Do you want to do things differently? You want to do different things. So yeah, that's that from my side. And thank you so much for having us over here, DSC. I'm super proud of the fact that you folks have pulled off such an amazing event for the last 3 days. It's the fourth day over here running on, and you all are doing like really amazing. So super proud that I'm part of this journey. I'm part of this program, helping you all, and you are helping lot many individuals out there. So good job. Kudos to you all. There are a lot of people behind the scenes. I know there are 125 plus leads. There are 275 leads across the country. So great job, everyone, in making sure the students at your campus are educated, informed about various technologies that can help shape their careers. So kudos to you all.
Thank you so much. It was really wonderful to have you both today with us. Thank you so much for our audience as well. And thank you so much for your precious time. Thank you for coming. And we would also like to thank like everyone who is here, the backend team, the people who are watching us right now. And I hope that you got something out of today's panel discussion session. So and we hope you're enjoying the DSC WOW sessions as well. So let's wow.
Thank you so much, everyone. That's all.
While that was an amazing session, well, we
Thank you
have a
so
few
much, Siddhant.
Well, we have a few announcements to make now, but before that, we would really like to know from all of you, how are these sessions going? The past 4 days, how have they been? What new have you learned? Please answer them in the comment section. Which new domains have you started exploring from these sessions at DSC WOW? Or
So,
from
like,
the
until people are asking, like, Avnish, I do have a question for you. Like, how is it to manage DSC in campus? How does it feels like?
So yeah, that like totally depends like what your ideologies are, or everyone has their own mission or perspective what they want to build out of their community. So you set up some rules, you have some ambitions, you set some targets, and based upon that you deliver that content to your community as well, that these are the deliverables, these are the targets, and that's my vision, and I would like to know your perspectives as well. Then you combinedly form a vision and goal that is a 1 year long term plan for, with the help of all your core team and the members that are there to help you out throughout the journey. So yeah, it's super great. Yeah, you have to do a lot of work, and it's not easy, but yeah, definitely worth taking that, that pain that is in there, because it's definitely a journey worth learning. So I would say it's superb. So yeah.
yes, we do have some answers about that question we asked. People are
Yeah, that
commenting. Kaggle, web development, Flutter, they have started their cloud journey. It's great to see so many people exploring, having to start explore these domains. So let's talk about the hackathon now, like some rules and regulations and what are the prizes like. Avnish, would you like to stress upon that?
Yeah, sure. That's like the best part that you took, Palak. So yeah, definitely prizes are the best part for anything. Yeah? Everyone is waiting for what you will get out of it. So definitely, yeah, I will take that up. So we have three overall prize winners where we have some cash prizes as well, and then we have special surprises from directly from the Google developers for top three winners. Also, our title sponsor Scale is also providing some goodies and swag to those folks. Apart from that, we have four tracks. There is this AI ML track, and the second one is AR VR. Third is the blockchain, and final one is the open innovation, where you can build upon. You are free to build upon any technology or trend that you feel that you work upon. So we have for price based on those tracks as well. Moreover, we have three problem statements. One is the Mysuru tourist, who are our sponsors, and in that problem statement, what you have to do, that you have to build a website for Mysuru tourists, and in that, if like top three winners and more, the top performers of that track will be facilitated. And the second problem statement is the women's safety, because yeah, it's a pressing issue and kind of need of the hour right now. So that's like initiative of DSC WOW towards like women's safety and empowerment. So we are trying to promote that in our country. So yeah, people who build really good projects on that, so definitely they will be getting some really good swags and amazing prizes for that category as well. The last one is Karnataka Police Department. So we have collaborated with them. So it was really nice to talk to their commissioner and all. So they have provided some really good insights and some promise statements that they feel while working in the precincts itself. So we have those problem statements, and also there is category prizes in there. Apart from that, daily you can see we are having quizzes and then Discord events. So I would definitely recommend that you should keep a tab on all the events that are there. Or also the Discord channel, if you haven't joined, folks, it's a must to join, because you're having multiple events and lots of sponsors, lots of goodies, and prizes are just out there, scattered out there, multiple things to grab. So just don't miss out on anything.
Sure. So if I have to conclude, all that Avnish explained is available on dscwow.tech. All the problem statements he very nicely explained in short. So do check out dscwow.tech and clear all your doubts. Also, if you have any queries, join our Discord server. We are available 24/7 to help you out. So that's about the hackathon. Thank you, Avnish and Vaishnavi. This was an amazing panel discussion and discussing about the hackathon. Harsh, do you agree?
Yeah, like I really enjoyed it. Thanks to you guys.
Definitely. So thank you so much, everyone. Like we have never met in person before, but yeah, it was really great accompanying you guys here. So DSC WOW is definitely doing something. Like in the end of year, this is definitely one of the best parts of this year. That
Well,
the
this
memory
is
that I will
diversity
keep forward.
in DSC. We are all united. We
Exactly.
are all diversified but united.
Well,
Let's move on to the next
let's not
section,
forget
and
we
for
are
that,
in all
let's
this
now.
together.
Yes.
Sure.
So,
All right, folks. Let's
Wow.
wow.
thank you.
Thank you
Let's
so much.
wow. Bye.
So, coming up next is a contest alert for all of you guys. So, the contest alert is this, that you have to write a blog on your key takeaways and your experience from these sessions that we have been conducting from the past 4 days. The deadline to submit your blog is today, that is 10th December, 11:59 p.m. Don't forget to tag DSC WOW and use the hashtag Let's Wow. So, Harsh, are you excited for this? We are expecting a lot of entries
Yes,
here.
I'm super excited for this. Like, and in case if you haven't like watched previous videos, we already have it on a YouTube channel. Go through them and watch
Yes.
them and write a concise blog article on what exactly you felt and how exactly was your experience. Hoping to see you all write these blog articles and featuring them.
Yes. So, moving on with the learning part of today's session, um, and introducing our speaker to you. Today's session now
So,
is on building AR apps on web or A-frame. Harsh, would you like to introduce the speaker?
yeah, sure. Thanks so much, Palak. So, our next speaker for today is Ada Ross, ma'am. She's a developer advocate, staff engineer at Samsung, and co-chair of W3C Immersive Group. Welcome, ma'am.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm Ada Rose Cannon, and as you've just heard, I'm the co-chair of the W3C Immersive Web Groups, and I'm also a developer advocate at Samsung Internet. A little bit about Samsung Internet just before I begin. So, Samsung Internet is an Android web browser. It's a fork of Chromium that's maintained by Samsung, with features aimed at power users and people who are really privacy sensitive. We've got features like ad blocking and tracking prevention, and we have a really customizable user interface. So no matter what kind of browsing you do, you can really customize it to your own preferences. And it's a really good browser. And you can get it from the Play Store on Android and for any Android device, not just Samsung ones, and I recommend trying it out. If you want to know any more information about the topics I'm speaking about today, you can reach out to me on Twitter at Lady Ada King, or you can reach out to the rest of the Samsung Internet team either at Samsung Internet or email us at webadvocacy@samsung.com. As a developer advocate, I try to help developers with the latest features in the web platform. to make websites that make the most of everything the web browser can offer. So any questions about WebXR or anything like that, I'm always happy to help. But back to the topic at hand, WebXR. So the WebXR APIs are developed by the immersive web groups in the W3C. These are designed totally openly in the public. You can read upon the specs, you can see what work is being done actively, you can even read the agendas and the minutes of all the meetings we're having. And if you want to take part in the standardization efforts for WebXR, we're always happy to have more people involved. The community group is joinable by everyone, and it's where the majority of the spec work is done. At least all like the newer work. There is another group, which is the working group, which does require you to be an employee of a member organization of the W3C. But this bit is just where the specs are finalized and tidied up and turned into web standards. But the majority of the fun specking out what needs to happen work happens in the community group, which is open to everyone. So what is WebXR? Well, at its core, WebXR is an API that's designed to access the sensors and displays of immersive hardware, such as virtual reality headsets, augmented reality headsets, smartphones with their AR capabilities, and some other immersive devices as well. It's designed to be a general purpose API for accessing any kind of AR device. Sorry, XR device. Because by knowing what the user is looking at, like the point of view we're supposed to be rendering from, we can render a scene from the user's point of view using a rendering technology like WebGL or WebGL2 or WebGPU to render a scene from the user's point of view, as long as it's on the same graphics card as the headset. That's why it needs to be one of those. And then we can display it on the headset itself. And by doing this at this frame rate of the device, you give the illusion of being inside a virtual scene. The most difficult part of the API is supporting the wide range of immersive devices. Designing an API that's general not just across different types of AR and VR headsets, but also like handsets and VR cave systems and all kinds of things. So building an API that's going to be robust long into the future, when the current generation of AR and VR tech is just a thing of the past. These are the initial devices that we're focused on. There are some devices that don't quite fit into these brackets which we support, but these are the main ones you'll probably encounter as a developer. But as I said, because it's a general API, if you build and you don't make anything too specific, you'll probably handle any device that will come out long into the future. So in the top left of this table, we have traditional virtual reality, such as like this headset. This is the Oculus Quest. So this kind of headset is you can't see the world around you. It's totally opaque, and you just see the virtual content. It has 2-tracked controllers, but not all headsets have those. And it can do hand tracking, but also not all headsets have that either. If you want to support something in virtual reality, this is actually the most popular headset out today, and it's probably one which I recommend getting. But any VR headset's a good place to get started. And then for augmented reality, there are also augmented reality headsets like the Microsoft HoloLens. I don't own one of those. They're very expensive, but they're really cool devices if you get a chance to have them. And then for handsets, so there is what's known as like inline mode. This is like a magic window effect where your phone acts as a window into the virtual world. which is like a common introductory way to get users into VR. So often they won't just put something straight into a headset, they'll try it out on their phone first to see if it's worthwhile. And finally, there's handheld augmented reality. So if you've played Pokemon Go, it's that kind of thing, where you're holding the device in your hand and you're seeing the world through the camera feed from your phone, except the virtual content is overlaid on the camera feed. And it usually has some kind of computer vision ability to do detection of stuff in the real world. So going into detail for head-mounted VR, what does this actually mean for what you're doing with? Well, the display is on the head, usually placed directly in front of the user's face. The controllers, if available, are handheld, so separate from the display. There may also be hand tracking available. This particular demo here is one which one of my colleagues on the who's one of the editors of the WebXR spec made the other day, called, I think it's xrpet.me. It's kind of a fun one. You get a pet, a very fluffy cat. Then handheld AR. This is probably the most popular way of WebXR is used today, because most people have some kind of handheld device. So the display isn't attached to the head, it's held in the hand, but the display is also the controller. And the interesting thing here is that it provides transient inputs for the for when you touch the screen. So when you touch the screen, it acts as an input where the position it's giving you for where the controller is isn't the center of the screen. It's actually the position where you touch it. So you don't have to worry about working out the size and location of the... You don't have to know the size of the screen and then work out relatively where the user is touching it. The WebXR Device API takes care of that for you. So you can build something that's very general, and it should continue to work. It probably has some kind of ability to do some kind of real world tracking. The only real world tracking API that's launched so far is the hit test API. This allows you to get single points into the virtual world. In this case, I'm sure the user has done a hit test against the floor before they place the virtual duck there. But it's unlikely to have any external inputs. Like, it's not impossible. There may be some device in the future where you have a phone with a handset or a phone that can do hand tracking. But right now, that's not something you're likely to see. And finally, head-mounted AR, which is kind of like the combination of the two. So the display is on the head, and controllers, if they're available, are going to be handheld. But there might also be hand tracking. And this device might also be able to do some kind of real-world tracking. Right now, there isn't any combination of headset and browser that can do hand tracking and hit test. Firefox Reality on the HoloLens can currently do hand tracking, so it can track your hands, but it can't do any real-world interactions. But hopefully very soon, Edge for HoloLens will have those capabilities. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens there. Because the stuff I'm talking about today is extremely new. Like, very few of the standards are fully baked yet. They might change slightly over the future. Like, they're getting pretty stable, but like I can't guarantee that they're never going to change. And some of the implementations have been coming out literally over the past few weeks and months. So this stuff is all extremely new. But how would you handle such device diversity? Because everything I've just described to you seems like a lot of work. Well, the trick is, don't focus on specific devices. If you focus on the interfaces themselves, you should be fine. Because WebXR is a really good abstraction layer. We've designed it to be as abstract as possible, so that if you build something based around the various interfaces, and you don't try to be too specifically focused on a single device, then you should have pretty good support everywhere, and something that will last when new hardware comes out in the future. You may have heard of an API called the Web VR API. This was an API which we worked on a few years ago, which never actually made it into becoming a standard, but was released in a few browsers. The Web VR API, the reason why it was deprecated was because it wasn't designed to be as future-proof as it could have been. And that's why WebXR has been so intentionally designed to last long into the future, because we don't want to make it again. It's been a lot of work. So how do you support these devices? Well, first you focus on the one thing that all of these devices have. You know they have a display which has a position, which is wherever the screen position is. So if you've got a handheld device, whatever you point your phone at is the input location. For head mounted, it's a little awkward because it's like you have a laser beam shooting out of your nose, and then wherever you look is where you're doing interactions. It works okay, and you can do stuff like if you long look at something, or long press on the phone, you can do something like then you start doing interactions in that location. It's a good starting point. But the moment you detect you have a controller, you can start using those instead. So if the user starts moving their controller around, or they start pushing a button, you can be like, this user is using a controller, I will use that instead. And then you can start using that for interactions. If they start moving their hands around, or you detect any hand-based inputs, then you can use those instead. Right now, there aren't any devices that let you have like one controller and one hand input. It's usually either you have two controllers or two hands, but you rarely have, but right now there's no combination of the two. It's not impossible in the API, like the API surface allows that capability, but so far no one is doing it. In VR, there's also no hit testing API, so there's no API that's built into the platform to test against the virtual world that you're rendering. If you want to do something like that, you'd have to use something like 3GS's Raycaster to hit test against the virtual world. So if you wanted to build an WebXR experience that on AR, place an object in the real user's world, and in VR, place an object in a virtual world, then we would handle, so the WebXR device API would handle hit testing for AR, but you'd have to re-implement it yourself using maths of some kind for virtual reality. But many 3D frameworks have this built in by default, so it shouldn't be too hard to implement on top of that. And in AR, like I just said, you have the hit test API that lets you interact with the real world. So it lets you cast out a single point, and if it hits a place in the real world, it will give you the location of that point in virtual space. But AR has huge amounts of variation. So I'm going to summarize what you should do again. So by default, use the display pose. You have it, you know the users have it, so you're all good. Then you track transient inputs. They're the ones where the user is tapping on the screen on handheld AR. If some kind of controller or XR input device is present, use that. And if hand tracking is available, use that too. And the nice thing about hand tracking is that because it's it gets exposed as another XR input device, the same way the controllers do, you probably don't have to do anything additional to support it for XR. Like for AR. In virtual reality, if you want to do stuff with controllers, with handheld controllers, you probably want to detect that this controller is handheld, and instead of showing a 3D model of a controller, you render their fingers and stuff, and it's a little tricky, but there are libraries for doing that too. But for AR, because you can already see through the device, like usually as a transparent screen, you don't have to render hands because the user can see their own real hands. So that's really handy. And this may seem quite complicated, but it's actually not so bad to handle yourself. You can do it in a few tens or 100 lines of code. It's not too bad, and I have a blog post about it coming out soon. So keep an eye on the Samsung Internet Twitter feed, and it'll be released there. All right, so for the rest of the topic, I wanted to kind of show you how to get started with WebXR itself and actually build something. There are lots of libraries you can use to do stuff with WebXR. These are all different WebGL libraries that have WebXR capability built in. So Play Canvas is really good, and it's like a really light one. Babylon.js is really, really powerful, has some really great effects in it. 3JS and A-Frame are the ones I personally use the most, but that's just because 3JS has been around for a very, very long time, and it's still really actively developed, and I've been using it for, like, I think it's almost 10 years old now. So it's a really good one to try out. React 360. Oh, and A-Frame is built on top of 3JS. So if you already know 3JS, you're actually going to be really powerful when it comes to using A-Frame, which is what I'm going to talk about today, which is a HTML wrapper around 3JS. React 360 is a React wrapper around 3JS. It's kind of similar to A-Frame. So if you like using React, there's that as well. I believe there's also some Unity plugins, so you can build a Unity experience and have a go at releasing it through there. There's a website that I help maintain called immersiveweb.dev. I'll type it into the chat here. Immersiveweb.dev, which has instructions for getting started in lots of different environments. So if you already do some 3D stuff and you have a preferred one, there might be instructions there to help you. So A-Frame, you can find out more about it at aframe.io. The docs are really good, the community is really good, they have a Slack channel, they're really active on Twitter. They're just a really great project. I've been a big fan of them since they were released. And it's really, really neat because it uses, I'm not sure if you have any web developers in the chat, but you might recognize these as HTML custom elements. And it's defined custom elements for all kinds of different things. So, and it kind of maps the DOM tree from HTML onto the scene graph for 3D stuff. So it's like a really nice, like, they found a really nice overlap between like the web tech and the 3D tech. This whole thing, like these, I think it's like, I can't count off the top of my head, but probably no more than a dozen lines of code, gives you a web page that does this, which is ready for VR, ready for AR. It's ready to go out the box. It's really fantastic. So yeah, the rest of the time I wanted to show you how to do this for real. So I'm going to swap to this now. Here we go. Here's an editor, and nothing up my sleeve. Let's just do this from scratch. And by the way, if you've got any questions and stuff, like, feel free to ask them in the chat, and I will try and answer them as I go along and stuff. I'm not sure if one of the hosts will be able to, if they see questions, if they'd be able to ask me them as they go. Yeah, new file. So index.html, and yeah, let's. So yeah, A-frame demo. Yeah. All right. So what's the first thing we want to do? Well, we want to add the A-frame script. So I'm gonna swap here. Is this well, it's not a browser window, is it? Damn. Let's bring in this one. So yeah, let's go to the docs, and I'm just going to copy the script tag for the latest version of A-frame. There we go. Just put that in the head. And actually, let's just copy the demo code just so you can see that it works. So this is a scene that adds a box, a sphere, a cylinder, a plane that's been flattened to the ground, and it's put a skybox in there as well. Actually, I'm gonna. So yeah. So let's oh, I need to start a HTTP server. And then let's, there we go, localhost 8080, and there we go, it's working. It's VR ready. I could push this. I think I've got the, oh yeah, so I have the WebXR emulator extension installed. I really recommend it if you want to do VR development, like Chrome WebXR emulator extension. It's just really useful. It's a great place to get started. It's available for Firefox as well if you're a Firefox user. It's just really handy. And yeah, I can try it out on my phone. I can show you it does basic AR as well. So if I think I have DevTools open here. So in DevTools, I am I'm doing port forwarding. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, port forwarding is active. So I'm forwarding 8080 to my phone. Would we be able to make my camera full screen and hide the screen sharing? Because I'm now going to just do this instead, which is probably easier. There we go. Can you see that? Weirdly, it's cutting off the edge of it, and I don't know why. There we go. Was it because this is full screen? I have no idea why this is not displaying correctly. Because it did it in the thing. Actually, can I just want to check? Can everyone see the demo? Like, is it working, or is it just my screen? Oh no, it's just my screen. Sorry, it is working. Cool. So as you can see, it's working. There is a AR button and a VR button. So if I push AR, as you can see, it looks exactly the same. And the reason for this is because there is a big opaque skybox that's blocking the camera feed. But you probably saw a flash of camera feed below the scene before it started. So yeah. that's working. So let's put some content in here. So yeah, let's hide this. Whoop. So I normally go to Sketchfab to get some models. They have a really good selection of models from like ones you can purchase, and I really recommend purchasing some. And they've got some which are Creative Commons as well, which you can download. So I found a Creative Commons model earlier, which I will paste into here. So I downloaded it as a GLTF format. GLTF is a really good 3D model format, which is kind of a newer one, but is designed for being used on the web and is a really good exchange format for 3D models. So yeah, let's find my 3D models. Okay, I did cheat a little. I do have a test run folder, but we'll just ignore that. So yeah, I found this really cute cactus model, which I then downloaded. And the tricky thing is that these models often end up being much larger than you'd expect. So I've opened up Blender here, and I'm going to import this cactus model which I downloaded. So file, import a GLTF file, and I'm going to download it from my test run. So 3D models. So this is the model which I downloaded earlier. And as you can see, it's pretty huge. So yeah, so it's a really big 3D model. And by big, I don't mean that it has a lot of vertices, which in this case it does. It's actually pretty heavy. But I thought it was so cute I couldn't resist. It's actually big in that each of these grid lines is like one 3D unit. Well, in XR, one unit is 1 meter. So in this case, this cactus is about 8 meters wide, which is very, very large. We need to shrink this a lot. So I'm just going to scale this before I import it. So I'm going to shrink it down to, say, 20 centimeters. And I don't know how big that is, so I'm just going to use a cube for scale. So I'm just going to do add, and I'm going to make it 0.2 meters. I actually got that pretty spot on, actually. So yeah, that's about right. So yeah, let's do it about that. That seems about okay. So just delete my cube, and I'm going to re-export this as a GLB file. So I imported it as a GLTF. GLTF files usually have all of their different assets, like the model shape, the textures, stuff like that. They usually have it separated out into separate files. And this is pretty good for some use cases. But if you want to do it on the web, it's probably easier just to have one single file you can download. And so the GLTF binary file, which is probably too small to see here, because I can't increase the text size on Blender, unfortunately, is kind of what you need. So that's just what I'm going to do. And I'm going to save it as cactus.glb. So DSC WOW, and then so hopefully that's worked. Nope, I think Blender just crashed. Oh, that should have worked. Oh, there we go, it has worked. Cool. So there it is. So if we want to put that into our scene, we can add it using... I'm just going to get rid of all these other objects apart from the sky and the plane. And I'm going to add the cactus. So actually I don't remember that off the top of my head. So I'm going to look at the docs. So yeah, the GLTF model component is what we want here. And I think there's even an element to do it for us. A GLTF model. Here we go. So I can just paste that in here, and then cactus dot GLB, and I spelled that wrong. So in theory, if we refresh this, we should now have a cactus. Okay, we do, except it's right below us. And it's tiny, because like we're looking at this pretty big scene. So let's move the cactus in front of us. So we can do position equals, or we want it to be 0 left and right, 0 up and down, but 1 meter into the scene, so -1 position. And I'm also going to move this plane forward so it sits underneath it. And I'm going to make it just 1/2 meter in size, just so everything's a bit smaller. And I'm also going to move the camera down a bit lower so we're a bit closer to what we want to see. And moving this camera around shouldn't have any effect to what happens in VR, because when you're in VR, the camera is what gets positioned to the user's headset. So a camera position equals, so let's just lower it down. So put that 30 centimeters off the floor. And now, there it is. And I'm going to rotate it. Rotation equals, so I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees so that we can see its face. There we go. Now I know this cactus has some animation because that's why I picked it. And then so to do that, I'm going to get the, I'm going to download the A-Frame Extras library, because I know that has an animation component in it. Because A-Frame has this huge yeah, A-Frame has a huge library of components from third parties, like a lot. And this is just one of them that has a lot of really useful features. And what I want is the animation mixer component. And if I just drop this on there, it should work. So first I've just got to add it. So I'm just going to copy this into my thing. So add that script. And then I'm going to add the animation mixer onto here. So now if I refresh this, it should be moving. There we go. So we have our cute as heck animation. But now I've built this. Oh, actually the most important bit is that we've also got to include the attribution, because this is a Creative Commons object. So I'm going to add an overlay to my scene, which is going to be displayed on top of everything, which has the credits in it. So, and I'm just going to go P, so model credits, and I have them saved over here, so I'm going to quickly open this and paste it in. So yeah, so it's by Pixie Pooey on Sketchfab. And this overlay, we want to cover the whole screen, so I'm just going to add some style to this to make that happen. Just quickly add a style, and then overlay, and then position absolute, top 0, left 0, right 0, bottom 0. So that should cover the whole screen. There we go. So now we have the attribution. So let's try doing this in AR now. So we have our model. It's very cute, and we want to have it displayed properly in augmented reality. So thankfully I made some components for this, and I'll paste, you can find the source code for this, I will tweet it out later actually, because I haven't uploaded it to GitHub yet, but I have a component library which I maintain, which I will put on GitHub in a sec. Actually, I'll do it in a sec, I won't do it right now. And it's got this component called hide in AR mode. So when we enter virtual reality, any object with this just becomes invisible. So I'm going to include my AR components. And I'm just going to make the sky hide in AR mode. Hide in AR mode. Alright, so let's try this again on the phone. So just make sure it hasn't broken. So let's open up DevTools. Good, still working. Now if I open this on my phone, so refresh the page, and I push the AR button, great, it's worked. So we now have that, we can now see the model overlaid on our thing, but it's just placed the model on the floor in some arbitrary position. I can't actually move it around, and that's something I want to do. Yeah, my office is probably the worst place to develop AR in because it's tiny. I work in a closet, but there's just enough floor space that I can position stuff. So I made another component which uses the hit test API to position elements. So if I what was it called? It was the AR hit test component. So if I put this onto the GLTF model, then in theory localhost 8080. I have a bug. What? So you can't see this but here's my dev tools. I just open them up, make it big. Right. So the hit test feature is not supported by this session. This is because let's close that. This is because I haven't requested the hit test feature, so any additional features in WebXR you have to handle separately. So I'm going to add it to the ascene has a WebXR component, and you can set optional features, and I'm going to add hit test to that, and now it should work. So if I refresh this page, bring this back, come on, you can do the hit testing. So hit testing takes a while to like actually start tracking, which is annoying. Try tracking it on these. Oh yeah, and images like this, like posters, are like ideal markers for tracking. Yeah, it's not working. I'm gonna try it on a different model. So I'm gonna bring in a I have a little image here. So it just looks like this, just a transparent PNG. And I'm going to use this as like a marker for like working out how to place stuff. So we're going to do another A plane. And yeah, let's just make it a bit smaller. And we don't need a color, but we can set the source. Need a position. Source equals arrow.png, and we'll make that AR hit test. So if I refresh this, there we go. So now it's, yes. So it's positioned it vertically because it's controlling the rotation as well as the position. So because I'm rotating it to lie flat on the floor here, this actually gets undone by the hit testing stuff, because the hit test gives us the rotation of the surface as well as its position. That way, if you place something on a wall, you could have it sticking out of the wall. It'll be treating the wall like it's the floor, which is kind of a nice feature that you get both. So I'm going to put it in a little child element. So a entity. An A entity is like the div of a frame. It's just a generic empty container that doesn't do anything. But yeah, I'm going to make that the AR hit test. So now this is the thing that's going to be moving around. So yeah, if I refresh this and give you this back, there we go. And there we go. Now it's actually lying flat with the floor. And if I point it over here, it will lie flat on the wall as well. As you can tell, I'm a fan of Rose of Versailles. So yeah. And if I I made this thing so that if you give it a target, it will so give that an ID. So if I say its target is the cactus, then every time I push the screen, it will update the position of the cactus as well. That way I can move it around. Make this visible. So yeah. Come on, do the hit testing. There we go. So now I can position the cactus wherever I want. There, put it on the wall. So yeah, that's pretty handy. I'm also gonna... Which one is our thing? Oh, it's this one. Yeah, so this is actually a transparent image, so I need to tell it that, because that's why we're getting that weird error. Transparent. True. Cool, but I think that's mostly what we want to do there. So the next thing I want to do is have the if you want to interact with an AR scene, then probably the best way to do it is through a HTML overlay. So we already have the overlay which we're using for VR, so we can actually just turn that on. So we have this overlay, and so if I add another optional feature, DOM overlay, so this is another new WebXR feature. It isn't widely supported yet, but it works well on mobiles. So overlay element, and set it to overlay. So this should now, when we're in AR mode, we should still have the model credits placed on top. And there they are. There, forgot to show you the screen. There they are, they're still on top. And I think I'm like pretty much running out of time now, so I just want to leave it there. But I'll post the source code for this online later, so you can take a look and look through it, as well as the components for the AR stuff. And I hope this kind of inspires you to start building your own AR thingamabobbies. Yeah, thank you so much. Oh, I can't actually hear you. That's not good.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We do have a few questions from our audience. Harsh, would you like to take them up?
Yeah. Like, just a moment.
Yes.
So some questions are like, yeah. So the first question is, what are the prerequisites of learning augmented reality? Yeah.
So I'd say let me close this. I'd say some familiarity with HTML. That's all you need. And if you don't have that, this is a great excuse to learn HTML. Like by using A-frame, it really simplifies a lot of the stuff. Like, you don't really need any serious prerequisites. Like, I've taught this stuff to 10 to 13-year-olds. Like, it's if you want to get really stuck in with the more difficult stuff, you can like use some of the libraries like 3JS or Babylon that really give you fine-grained control. But even in A-frame, because it's based on 3JS, you still have access to all of that really like difficult fine-grained control underneath. So you can really like really at any level of computing, this is something you can do.
Right.
Okay, so next question is, what is the use of augmented reality in recent years? like, and how exactly is gonna be its future like?
The way it's probably used the most today is in commerce. Like already I've seen sites which will use the WebXR device API to let you place virtual furniture inside your house. So you go to the furniture shop and you'd be like, I like this couch, but will it fit? And then by using the WebXR device API, they can place that precise version of the couch into your apartment. So you can see like, yes, it does fit, or no, it's too big and stuff like that. And you can see if it matches and stuff like that. And that's probably the most common use case today, but I think as more AR headsets come to market, because AR lags behind VR by like 5 years. So where VR is now, where it's really taking off with like the Quest 2 and stuff like that, like I think we still have a few more years for AR to reach that level of consumer popularity. So right now, most people are just using it through their handsets, and most of the use cases are commerce sites who are like getting into it early, and in order to like beat the rest of the market.
Yeah, that answers the question, ma'am.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
thanks so much, ma'am, for the insightful session.
Glad I could help.
Well, Harsh, do you know we have a few surprises today planned?
Surprises? What surprises, Palak?
Well, you might be knowing that every day we conduct quizzes, right?
Yes.
So today
Well,
we have,
not a surprise for us, right?
well, yes, that is not a surprise, but today you have two quizzes, and that is a surprise. So, attempting quiz 1 now and quiz 2 at 8 p.m. Get a chance to win your goodies 2 times today. So, stay tuned.
So today we'll be having 2 quizzes. It means double prizes. So make sure you folks stay tuned till the end today.
Yes. And before that, we will be announcing day 3 results now. So are you all excited for day 3 results? Hearty congratulations to all the winners. And yes, well, now is a chance for you to prove yourself and redeem your goodies. Quiz 1 for today will be starting very soon. It's quiz time now. The link will be flashed on your screen. The link will be open for 3 minutes. All you have to do is go to that link, answer the questions, and wait for the results. So are you ready for quiz 1 of today? Let's begin. Well.
So we hope everyone enjoyed the quiz. I guess, Palak, even you enjoyed the quiz, answering the questions, right?
Yes, I did. And I think I did not perform well this time. So I'm going to go for the next quiz today after the session
Okay.
we have on ARVR.
All
So
right.
it's
So,
a chance for all of you as well. Second quiz coming up soon after like 45 minutes, Harsh?
well, 45 minutes. Let's see. We
Yes.
hope it's extends to 45 minutes, right? Now let's move on without wasting any time. Let's move on to the next session for the day. So coming up
Yes.
next in the session, we have building AR VR apps in less than 20 minutes and introducing our speaker, Corin Sir. He's a founder and CEO at the Echo AR. So let's get started with the session without wasting any time, folks.
Yes.
Minutes or less. Thanks again for joining, and thanks for the event organizers for inviting us to run a workshop. We're Echo AR. It's a cloud platform for augmented and virtual reality apps. We basically provide tools and network infrastructure for developers and creators like yourself to build and deploy 3D apps. We provided the hackathon organizers with a affiliated link in which you'll be able to register for our platform free of charge and get all our premium features. So definitely take advantage of that. And we'll also share this link to this recording later through the hackathon organizers. So I'm going to start by saying hello. I'm Alon, founder of Echo AR. We're a New York-based company. I did a master's of computer science at Columbia University, specializing in AR and VR, and did my undergrad in computer science, electrical engineering. So as you can see, a certified nerd and a big believer in the AR VR space. Feel free to write any questions in the chat as we go along with the workshop. And this should be as interactive as we can. Before we start, let's define some terms that I'm going to throw around a lot. So what is virtual reality? What's augmented reality? These are terms that you've probably heard. So VR or virtual reality is when everything around you is digital, you're fully immersed in a 3D environment, and everything you see is a CGI construct. So you're basically looking at a fully 3D world. Nothing around you is real, and your vision is being occluded through a headset that controls everything you see, basically projects it into your eyes, and sometimes also controls the audio that you hear. As opposed to augmented reality or AR, in which you still see the real world, and that world is being overlaid with 3D content and CGI imagery. You're looking at the world through some camera see-through, like a tablet or a phone, or an optical see-through, like a headset or some smart glasses. But basically, you still see the real world, and you have data on top of that. A really good concept to understand this is the amazing movie Space Jam, in which we have Michael Jordan being teleported into Looney Town. That's a really good example of virtual reality. Everything around him is a cartoon. He's interacting with bugs and the other Looney Tunes in their actual environment. And that is opposed to what we have later in the movie, in which we have Looney Tunes coming to us, playing around in the real world, playing basketball with us, interacting with Bill Murray. So that's the big difference between augmented virtual reality. Either Looney Tunes is coming to us or we're going to Looney Town. More real world examples of this are something you're all familiar with, Pokemon Go. People are running around the real world, interacting with digital monsters that are not actually there. Or virtual reality, in which we have like this example is Beat Saber, a game that you slash cubes based on the rhythm of the music. Everything around you is, again, just completely fake CGI, but you're fully immersed in this 3D environment. Another cool example of augmented reality is what I did back at my time at Columbia University. We took CT and MRI 2D scans, convert them to 3D models, build an application to put these 3D scans on a smart glasses for the physician to wear. These smart glasses are called HoloLens by Microsoft. And basically, the physician will be able to get this 3D reference map of the patient's anatomy in real time. It was a crazy experience. I would scrub into surgery. The physician will be able to get this scan floating above the patient, showing them how the inside of the patient is looking in real time. And they will be able to drive a catheter through their body based on these scans. An amazing experience. But for me as an engineer, I had to do something that I really, really hate. And that's waking up early in the morning. I had to go to the hospital at 6 a.m. to prepare for surgery, take those 2D scans, convert them to 3D models, put them on these smart glasses. And that took so much time. It was so frustrating. And as a developer, all I wanted to do is just two things. I wanted to manage 3D assets and deliver them to an AR device. And when talking to other developers who are building AR applications for retail and shopping and games and data visualization and training, they all said the same thing. There was no easy way to manage and deliver 3D data. But if you think about it, this problem was already solved for 2D. You don't need to be a web developer. You can to build a website. You can use something like Heroku if you're a developer, and you can get your cloud platform ready to go for web. If you're building a mobile app, you can use Sparse or Firebase to power your application. So now we have this third iteration of content. We were in web, mobile, now immersive, AR, VR, 3D, call it whatever. And the question has to be asked, who's going to build that cloud platform for that? And you've guessed that that's us. So Echo AR is that cloud platform for AR, VR, and 3D, basically providing tools and network infrastructure for developers and creators to build 3D applications. And later, we're going to see how you can do that, both from a non-code perspective and also a deep dive into coding. So that's us. As I mentioned, we provided an affiliated link for the hackathon organizers to share with you. You'll be able to register for premium features, premium access to our platform for free. So definitely check that out. And feel free to ask any questions in the chat if you have any. So let's define some more terms. So as you know, you don't need to be a web developer to update the blog post. You can drag and drop an image or video. Suddenly that appears on web and mobile. And if I'm in New York and you're in California and we're both watching an episode on Netflix, we automatically get the best streaming experience. We translated these concepts into augmented and virtual reality, basically providing you with a way to manage and deliver 3D data and get the best 3D streaming experience. And what's interesting here is, as opposed to like a image or web or video on the website that you can't move as a user, you can definitely move a 3D crouch across the room. And that needs to be updated in the cloud. That connection between content and space is really unique for AR VR. So this is basically what we've built, that content management system and delivery network specifically for 3D. And this is our website where you can register for that to access. But again, I encourage you to use the affiliated link we shared with the hackathon organizers, so you'll be able to get premium features for free. And now we're going to dive into how you use that. So all you have to do is register for an API key. Once you register, you get this automated email with a project key or an API key, and then you can start building your app. So what you see on the screen right now, so on the left, this is the console, and on the right, you just see my phone. So you'll be able to see, like, this is, for example, is my API key. I'm able to load it here in the console, and I'm going to start with something super, super simple. I'm going to upload some content, some 3D content. I can do add to cloud, and then I'll be able to choose 3D models that we already have for you here. We have like some really cool 3D models that you can choose from totally for free, can stream to your devices. You can also search. We have the search engine that searches on other content aggregators for 3D and grabs them into your project. And you can also upload files your own. Those could be 3D files, they could be videos, just an MP4 file, they could be images like JPEG or PNG. But I'm going to start with something simple, and I'm going to choose this Empire State Building, a tribute to our company in the city of New York. I'm going to choose this 3D model of the Empire State. I'm going to upload it to our cloud. What happens right now is that we take that 3D model, and it's the same 3D model as people use for 3D printing. We put it on our cloud. We build and compress and convert it. It works in Android, iOS, Magically, you name it. Once it's done, we're able to see it here on the platform. And now let's start with something simple. So we have it here on the console. We see that 3D model. Now let's put it in augmented reality. So I'm going to open a sample app right here. This is a mobile native Android app that you can download right here in the downloads menu. I'm going to plug in my API key right here. it will stream the data from the cloud to the device. So it will basically stream the 3D model of the Empire State to my apartment. You can see my apartment right now. The camera will recognize there's a floor here. So let's move the camera a little bit, recognize that there's a surface, a floor, and voila, the Empire State is here with me. I can walk around it, walk inside. Super, super simple. And all I had to do is put it on the cloud and automatically connects to our application. But what happens when you want to change this to something else? So instead of rebuilding your application or doing anything technical, I'm just going to go back to the console. I'm going to either edit or delete the entry, upload something else, and it will automatically update across platforms. Let's see how that works. So instead of this building, let's choose this building again. Same process occurs, posting it to our cloud, building and converting it to works on any platform out there. Once that's done, I'm going to open the exact same app that we just saw. Plugging in the same API key, streaming data from the cloud to the device, camera scans the floor, and voila. Suddenly, instead of the Empire State, we have this apartment building. Super, super simple. Perfect. So now we saw an example of mobile, basically a mobile app that allows you to see augmented reality. Let's take it a step further. We worked with the companies, for example, that didn't want an app, they wanted a web experience. For example, an art agency, people would walk in randomly and wanted to see AR around them without installing an app. No worries, you can stream that to web as well, and that makes more sense for them for their project. What you do is you click on this button, this basically scan button. It will generate a QR code that you can scan. If you have a phone with you right now, scan it with me, and you'll see how we stream this building right now to your phones in real time. So scan this QR code with me. Most cameras have, for example, for Android and iOS, have their own, built-in QR code scanner. Scan this. It will redirect you to a website. You don't have to install anything. You can, again, scan it with your phones right now or just follow what I'm doing on screen. I'm able to see the building right here on my phone. I can press C in AR. The camera will instantiate. Again, no need to install anything. Camera will recognize the floor again. Now it recognizes the table, for example, and now I can put this 3D model on top of the table. So definitely check that out yourselves. So we saw mobile, we saw web. Let's see another example of a game engine called Unity that later in the coding portion of this workshop, we're going to talk a lot about. I open a sample up right here. This is a game engine a lot of developers use to build AR, VR apps across platforms. Again, camera instantiates, floor is being detected. And what's cool about specific Unity is that we have a SDK here that you can download, and we have a example app right here that you can just download and build. It's already pre-built, like a lot of open source code that we're going to talk in a second. We have more for Flutter and React and other platforms, so definitely check that out. So we see the camera recognizes the surface, recognizes the floor, putting that building that we all remember already. But now let's change things in real time. Let's do some animations, do some transformations. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to click this small button right here that basically exposes the data panel. And the data panel will basically allow me to add data to that content. So let's click plus, and then let's add something like direction, and let's do direction equals right. Bam, suddenly it starts to rotate in real life. Unbelievable, like all I had to do is like click some button on the console, automatically it starts to rotate. If I think that it's too small, no worries, let's do here, let's go scale equals 2. Bam, suddenly it pops up twice the size. These are obviously like really simple examples, but it is to show you that you can like stream data in real time, you can change, you can enable and disable features remotely by adding text. This is a free text box, you can add anything you want, and then when you go to the code portion of the workshop, you'll be able to see how you can enable or disable any customized behavior that you want through keywords that you stream from the cloud. Let's delete this, it will shrink back. Super easy. Okay, so we saw mobile, we saw web, we saw Unity. What all these examples had in common is that all these examples basically relied on surface detection. The camera recognizes the floor, like a table or a chair. But another AR technology that we support is called image recognition. The camera recognizes an image and will overlay data on top of that image. So what you can do to start, you can click the same button of the QR code that we just had, and instead of doing see on the floor, do see on an image. Scan this QR code, and again, if you want, you can use your phones right now to scan this QR code. So I really encourage you to do that. Just scan this QR code from the screen. It will redirect to a website. Again, you don't have to install anything, but just remember that if you want to recreate everything I'm doing, you'll have to register for an API key. And voila, I'm keeping the phone in front of the QR code, and now the QR code acts as a target. Basically, the 3D model jumps out of my screen. Instead of being on the floor, now it's on top of some image, and I'm able to see this building basically pop out from an image. This image could be anything you want. It could be your business card, and then you overlay it with 3D models, or like a video of you talking. We sponsored a previous hackathon, and someone did a really cool project in which we put custom QR codes or custom images. People would scan them, see videos on COVID-19 and like informational videos on COVID-19, and then on the back end, they will actually scan how many people. They will actually count how many people scan those QR codes, and basically give them information to enforce social distancing. That's a really cool example of a project. Let's see what other types of data you can upload. So we saw 3D models. Let's throw in just a video, so like for example, this cartoon, just an MP4 file. I'm going to throw that in. Same process occurs, but now we're actually converting the video as opposed to a 3D model, just making sure that it's optimized for augmented reality. Once that's done, you're going to see the video on the console as well. Same process. Let's scan this together. And again, you can scan this with your phone, redirecting to a website. You don't have to install anything at this point. And then just keep your phone in front of the QR code, and that will basically overlay that QR code with a video. So let's see how that works. There we go. We see a cool video just playing on top of that. Super, super simple. Let's see that. Okay, I'm going to start the video right here. What else can we do? So we can actually have custom images. So let's do that as well. So let's plug in, maybe you'll do even the same video, just in a custom image. So here in the target, I'm just going to choose on an image as opposed to a specific, like anywhere. So let's do on an image, choose some specific image. Let's do this image. Make sure that your image has a lot of contrast and like for the camera to recognize it. Like it can be just like a blue screen or something like that. It has to be like a high contrast image and a lot of colors. Let's upload that. Same process occurs. Now we're just like adding in, image integration. Once that's done, we're going to see that video appear in the console as well. Let's give it a sec to convert. And then same process occurs. You'll be able just to scan it and see it in augmented reality. Super easy, super cool. And again, everyone without even technical knowledge can do that. Maybe let's delete this one. And let me upload another type of content. So I can upload this fox and I've put it in a specific location. So that's the third type. So we have to put it on a surface, put it on an image, or put it in a specific location, which means I can put it in New York, for example. I can build an app that if you open it in New York, you're going to see the Empire State Building. But if you open it in San Francisco, you're going to see the Golden Gate Bridge. There you go. Same process occur, but now we're just adding that extra data of location. Super easy. If there's any questions, feel free to add them in the chat. Let's see how we can see the video on the image. So let's scan this QR code again. Again, redirect to a website. You don't have to install anything. Camera would instantiate. This might take a minute, another minute. Let's open that. And there we go. So suddenly we have this 3D model, this video overlaying a custom image as opposed to what we had earlier, which was a QR code. Perfect. So let's see, now that we saw how you can add content, how you can manipulate content, how you can add data, let's play around with the console a little more. So we saw the downloads menu that you're able to download an app or all our SDKs for all the different platforms, some example codes that you can that are ready to build. You can swap themes, which was cool, right? Dark theme, light theme, dark being the default. Help menu is really, really an insane resource for you all. It links to our documentation, which is literally a step-by-step guide of everything I did so far. I'm going to share the link here as well for you to play around with it. Caroline is asking, how do I get it on my phone again, like from the computer, not the scan? So in order to get it to your phone, we use the QR code, for example, to have your phone browser be directed to that experience. So when you upload a 3D model, you have these QR codes ready to go. If you want, you can go to the console through your mobile phone and then just click buttons in the console on the mobile. Can you have a 3D animation? Yes, you can. When you upload 3D models, if you have a 3D model that you want to upload, you can upload pre-animated ones, and that will work the same. And it's pretty cool to see. You can upload FBX files. They usually have pre-built animations. So we have the documentation here. I shared the link here in the chat. It's a step-by-step guide, but it has like really cool, GIFs and just to show you how to recreate everything I just did and how to integrate, how to use the web console, how to use our API, how to use all the different SDKs for Unity, ARJS, React, Swift, you name it. So definitely check that out. Other things that you can do here is access our GitHub page. This page has so many resources for you. Basically, a lot of free projects that are already open source that you can use. So for example, let's open a few of them and play around with them. So let's do the face change, the living room, the COVID-19 one. Let's do, what else is cool? Let's do the remote work, and let's do freaky museum. So and I'll share this right here as well. There you go. So these examples are already pre-built projects that you can use with Echo AR. For example, if you want to do some really cool face change, like face filtering kind of thing, you can do that. There's a really cool project here that basically shows a living room inside a living room that you can watch a movie in like AR. Another example is the COVID example. Later, we're going to rebuild this together. Here's another example of remote work. You can like put someone in augmented reality with like if they have a scan. Freaky Museum is cool, bringing images to life, right? So definitely check those out. We have a question, can you show gesture control? So I don't have a demo for gesture control, but you can definitely implement that if you have, like if your application supports it. So like in Unity, for example, you can add gestures on like pinching the screen. For example, like what I did, I clicked on the screen, so only a 3D model appeared on the phone, on the floor. I can use in the web ones, I can like pinch the screen to make it bigger and smaller, stuff like that. So that's pretty easy. If you want hand recognition, which is a little more complicated, you just need to make sure that your AR SDK supports that. Andrea is asking, if my test device doesn't support any Surface display, should it work in other devices, which it can? So the thing is, like on any Surface, that's just something that you define in the console. Your device being supporting for AR or not, you just need to make sure that when you do like see in AR, like for example, when I did the web example, you'll be able to instantiate a camera and your camera would see 3D models on the floor. Most devices, they do support that, but just make sure that you have, if it's iOS, that it's enabled with ARKit, and if it's Android, it's supported with AR Core or Google Play services for augmented reality. Kirat is asking, in Unity, can you pin a content to always be spawned a specific location? Yeah, so basically, as long as you manage that logic in your app, and we'll do that in Unity in a sec, you'll be able to make sure that this Fox, for example, only appears in New York, but you'll have to build that logic into your app. For iOS implementation via the SDK, how would you make the model stay in one spot? So that's basically how it works. So like when you stream 3D models to iOS, if it's for Unity or through Swift, that model is being anchored to a specific location based on surface detection. So as long as you have, you click something and then you see it, you should be able to anchor it to the floor the same way I just did. Check out again our documentation. There's a link here for like Swift integration. Just read through that. It will guide you how to build that specifically in iOS. It shouldn't move with the users. If you program the app correctly, it shouldn't. And if that's still the case, use our example here with Unity and AR Foundation and build it for iOS, and then your problem should be solved. So I really recommend using this project because that has all their configurations already preset. Perfect. So we saw our documentation, we saw GitHub. You definitely join our Slack channel. Our support team is there to help you, and I'll hang around there as well to answer any questions if you need help with debugging and stuff like that. So you have a link here. You can always email us or tweet us. Super easy to get to reach us. You can also asking what team. It doesn't matter. You can put your team hackathon or just like leave it blank, and that's fine. It doesn't matter. How can this be applied to web app? So Rebecca, check this out. So if you click on this button, for example, this gives you a direct link to the model. And specifically in the model, this is what I like when I scan that QR code that redirect me to this website. I can share it right here. But basically here you can have, for example, in the web app, you can have an iframe and then have that iframe show this website, which this website basically redirects to a 3D model. This short link basically allows you to see that 3D model. If you're opening it on mobile, you'll be able to see it in AR as well. So you can integrate a lot of 3D models into your web app if you want. You can also share all these things on social media and like mobile social networks like WhatsApp. Okay, so we saw how you can create, sure thing. So we saw how you can upload 3D models, how you can manage data, how you can have all these resources to help you out. Let's dive into more stuff that you can do. The data page is really cool, allows you to control data remotely. Remember, we talked about adding data to specific 3D models and specific content, but you're also able to add global database. For example, we supported a project that did like a scavenger hunt murder mystery thing for augmented reality. And they had 3D content associated with different scenes, like crime scenes, but they also had like global data that is associated with all scenes. So that's what you can do with the global database. Payments is a cool page, shows you how much API calls you're making, storage, bandwidth you're using. And if you're using the affiliate link from the hackathon, you're going to get this tier for free. So definitely check that out, our premium tier for free. Location is the cool page, shows you the distribution of content. Remember, we added that Fox in New York. So there you go. We have that pin for New York. It shows you the distribution of content around the world, the servers that is using to stream your data. Security is a cool page, allows you to add team members to your project. So if you have a project and you want others to join it, basically allow them to also add models and stuff like that, you can just add them here. Insights is a cool page. Basically allows you to, again, see how many API calls you're making, bandwidth that you're using, the storage that you're making, see how people are using your content. So for example, we just streamed that apartment building. So there we go. We have this spike in usage. And here we have some more history on the project itself and how it's being used. Super useful. Users is really cool. Shows you the distribution of users, where your users are coming from. Now it's empty because I just uploaded data right now, so it's pretty empty. Tutorials is a really cool and useful page. Links to our documentation, links to a bunch of frequently asked questions. Shows you open source examples like this solar kind of solar system example for education that are all open source and you can play around with them. So definitely check them out. Link to our GitHub, link to our documentation again. Inspiration page is my favorite page. Shows you so many examples of AR, VR to get inspired and build things that are similar, like the art project that I mentioned, the murder mystery game, or some cool project we did for Verizon. There are so many cool examples here of augmented virtual reality for healthcare and training and military use and in shopping and retail and data visualization and games, obviously. And here's a few examples of COVID, like the COVID tracker that I mentioned that people did during other hackathons. So definitely go to this page to get inspired. Here's a chemistry one that uses image recognition with QR codes. So definitely check those out. They're really, really cool. And if you build something with Echo AR, we will make sure to feature you on this page as well. So definitely check that out too. Here's a really cool project that people did recently with patient data being shown in augmented reality based on face recognition. Perfect. So far we saw a lot of things that you can do with a console. No code was necessary at all. Now we're going to transition into the part that we are doing some coding in Unity. So if there's any questions so far, please write them down in the chat. Okay, so this is Unity. It's a game engine that a lot of developers are using to build AR, VR applications. It uses C# as the coding language, but if you know Java or other object-oriented programming language, you should be okay. After you install Unity, make sure to download the Unity SDK right here. It's going to be a file. You double-click it, and then it automatically adds everything you need to your Unity project. You have this Echo AR folder. Then when I go to examples, there's this empty scene that you see right here. This scene is completely empty. There's nothing here. When I go and touch the Echo AR game object, I'm able to add my API key. So let's do that. Blue water 6. I'm going to press play. And now 3D models will appear out of thin air. They will stream from the cloud to the device, and then we're able to see them here. So let's see that. So there you go. We see the building rotating. We see the video playing. The video is actually playing in my ears. So let's maybe delete that. See, I'm removing it from the console. Automatically, it will be removed from my scene in Unity. The fox is being occluded by the building. So let's move it. We already know how to do that. Go to the console, go to the data panel, add some, let's say, x equals 10 feet. Bam, suddenly it moved in real time. Very cool, very, very easy way to move data around. When I stop the application from running, everything disappears. So this is basically to show you how your application will actually conserve a lot of memory because the 3D models are not actually persistent on the device. Only when you open it, the device will stream from the network. This means your app will be really, really small. It's just a camera, and then data will stream every time the app is running. If I press play again, everything will return. Everything will stream back from the cloud. The cool thing about this is that you can see that it remembers the state. We basically have what we call a stateful CMS, a stateful content management system that remembers the state of data. It remembers that the building is rotating. It remembers that the fox is 10 feet away from the building, is able to reinstate that scene the way you built it. Okay, now let's move on to some custom changes that we want to do. So let's delete the building, put the fox back in the center, and there we go. So we have a fox right here. Sitting in center called Arctic Fox Posed. Now, let's say we want to change something. So every 3D model that is streamed with Echo AR has a custom behavior script attached to it. This is a script that you need to change if you want to add any features, any capabilities, and you can basically change that and have your entire logic persist in this script. So let's see that script and let's change it a little bit together. So as I mentioned, C#, this is the Unity standard format. It has two specific functions. One is the start function, evident by its name, instantiates when you start the application. And we have the update function, which is really interesting. This is a function that happens every single frame. Remember, you're coding in 3D now. That means there's a scene being rendered, there's frames like a video. So this function will actually be called every single frame. It's like a while true loop or like a infinite for loop that happens all the time. You need to make sure that this function is really optimized and like remember your CS classes that you need that complexity of this function to be really okay, because if this hangs or crashes, your entire application hangs or crashes. So let's look at the start function. Let's see what we have. So we're adding some script, the remote transformation script that handles the rotation and stuff like that to our entry. We have a snippet of code that we're going to focus right now, and that will be like a feature that we want to add, for example. So here we're asking, does this entry, like this fox, does it have any additional data? If it does it have a name? If it has a name, set the name of the object to that name. Okay, let's see how that works. So right now we don't have a name, so let's add a name. Does anyone have a good name for a fox? Let's call him Kevin. Kevin. There we go. And now when I press play, the fox will restream into the platform, into the game engine, and voila, suddenly it's named Kevin. Super easy. We're able to change something through the code and through the data that we just streamed remotely. Perfect. Now let's say I want to change something. Again, I want to change its name to Sam. It didn't change. Why is that? Because the code that we ran for the name change is in the start function. It only happens when we start the application. So if I unstart it and start it again, the data will stream again, that start function will run again, and we'll see that too. Perfect. Now it's called Sam. Super easy. Now let's change the code a little bit. Let's say we want that change to be happening in real time. So I'm going to take this snippet of code, and I'm going to put it in the update function instead. So now every single frame, we're going to ask, do I have a name? If I do, change that name to the name that I have. So let's see how that works. Let's press play again. Data will be streaming again from the cloud to the game engine. We'll see the fox named Sam. But now when we change it back to Kevin, bam, suddenly it's named Kevin automatically. So this is obviously like a simple example to show you how you can change things in real time, how you can have data on the console affect things in Unity. And you can basically use that to enable or disable if flows, enable or disable features, control features. Really, you're only limited by your imagination. So this was a simple example. If you have any questions, feel free to write them in the chat. And if not, I'll just move on to some more complicated example. So let's delete this let's clear the console. Let's upload new content. Let's do that. So I'm going to upload a specific 3D file that I have right here, a 3D file of our blue earth. And I'm going to add a CSV and Excel file with it. This is basically a file that has all these pre-loaded keys like scale to direction right in it. And then that will be uploaded with the 3D model, and basically allows you to basically pre-add data without needing to type it in manually. So I'm going to do that, uploading to our cloud, same process that we're already used to. And now it's also setting the data. I'm also going to swap the custom behavior script under the hood. So let's swap that and then have some new functionality that we didn't have before. And then we're going to analyze the script together to see that functionality. Perfect. So we have the earth right here. We have all the data automatically thrown into the console. And now let's go through our new script. So this is, again, the new script, C# Unity format. We have suddenly a new array here of all the continents. We have some dictionary, some data structure. We have the start function that looks exactly the same as it did before. And we have the update function, which now is much more interesting. Let's go through it together. So every frame we're going to ask, do I have any additional data? If I do I have an additional data called scale? If I have a scale, let's parse that value into an integer. Now we say, okay, let's iterate over all continents. Let's check, do I have an additional data that is associated with the name of a continent? Here we have, if we do, let's add that, let's parse that as a number. Take that number and ask if I have a graph, let's set that size of the graph to that number. If I don't, let's create a graph. Let's let's create the cylinder, give it a color, give it a name, give it a size, give it a location, add some text to it. And if I don't have anything, let's just remove that graph. Let's see how that works when we press play. So I'm going to press play. Data will stream from the cloud to the device, and automatically you're going to be able to see that. There you go. Voila. We're able to see the building rotating, and we see all these graphs. Anya is asking, how do you implement EchoAR in a mobile app? So you can do that in Unity, and then in Unity you press build setting or build and run, and then you can build this app as a Unity, as a mobile app automatically. Unity is being used to generate mobile apps basically. And you can also do that, as I mentioned earlier, with like web and mobile, like the things that we saw earlier. As I mentioned again, if you go here to downloads, you can use this Unity plus AR Foundation code. Maybe I'll share that specifically with you here to automatically, it's already pre-built. You just need to build that, add that your API key and then build that project, and you have a mobile app with EchoAR. And as people mentioned here in the chat, just go to our documentation and go to the section on Unity, and that will help you build a mobile app. Okay, so we see all the data right here. We see this really cool COVID visualizer showing how many COVID cases were in each continent. Now let's change things in real time. If I change Antarctica from 1 to 8, bam, suddenly we see the graph spikes. Really cool. If I delete Antarctica, disappears. Very cool. Similar example just to show you how things could update in real time and how you can build this really cool visualizer in virtual reality or augmented reality. What you can do now is take this code, it's already open source, and build on top of that. Build an app that basically takes, integrate a third-party API. For example, the WHO, the World Health Organization, has some API for how many COVID cases there are out there. Do RESTful API calls, change these values remotely as opposed to manually with like changing the table. And then this graph will actually update with real-time data. How cool is that? But the cool thing is, again, that if you stop the app from running, everything disappears, right? Everything clears to the memory. Perfect. If there's any more questions, please write them down in the chat. If not, I'm going to just continue to recap what we see so far. How do you change data remotely? So that is exactly what we saw earlier. If you use the console, you're able to add data here, like to change it here. And if you want to have the data changed through an API call, go to our documentation, go to API data, and then you're able to request data or post data through just an API call. If you request this API call, give it your API key and just the key and value, they'll automatically be added to the console without actually using the console. So there's a lot of RESTful API key calls here that you can just add, automatically use them. I'm going to share it as well. Perfect. So let's go back to the slides. So we talked about how you can build applications for Android, iOS, Unity, web, Magic Policy, you name it. Content creators need no technical skills to do everything we did in the first part of the workshop was very no code-ish. Then we built, store, and deliver those assets to headsets and mobile devices everywhere. Developers obviously save time and money in building their app backend. You don't have to build anything specific, and you don't have to like hook up servers and everything. We do that for you. You need no technical skills if you're a content creator, and companies can scale data all over the world. So you can change properties of the model using keys. Yeah, so like for example, we had the property of rotation, and that made it rotate right or left. And I can change the property of rotation to be left or right or whatever I want, and then that will automatically change the way it happened. Remember in the beginning of the workshop, I had building on the floor. Suddenly I added data on the console, automatically out of thin air, it started rotating. That was an example of me changing data remotely, and then the app will fetch that data, and the feature was rotation, for example. Is it possible to use an app in offline mode? No, because like the entire point is to stream data from the cloud to the device. Like if it's in offline mode, you're not going to be able to see data. If you want, you can save some of the 3D models, but then you're losing the point of having an actual app. Like if it's an offline mode, then it's more like a prototype as opposed to like a fully fledged app because you don't have like servers connected to it or something like that. But good questions. We talked about use cases. We talked about surgery. We talked about interior design, ads, tourism, shopping, games, obviously. So many really cool, amazing things. We saw the inspiration page in which you're able to build, and you're able to see all these projects that people build with EchoAR and without it. So definitely check it out as well. And I'm really, really excited to see what you're all going to build and basically, again, let your imagination run wild. All of us as a company, we won a bunch of awards backed by some of the top investors in the country, like Imagine Ventures, Techstars, Verizon, and we're there for every major tech event. So once things go back to normal, if you're there at some event, find our team, say hello. We'll see that we're the track that powers all the horses in the space. So it doesn't matter if you're building applications for Android or mobile or web or iOS or Unity or HoloLens or Magic Leap. You can use Echo AR to stream data and allow those apps to run and make them online apps. Make sure you register in our website or use the affiliated link we shared with the hackathon organizers for you to get premium tiers for free. Thank you so much for being in this workshop. Feel free to reach out through our Slack channel and ask any questions. Really, really excited to see what you're going to build. And the last thing I would mention is, like, we're sponsoring one of the prizes. So if you're building something really cool with Echo AR and submit it for judging, you're eligible to win the Echo AR challenge, basically win that award. So definitely build something cool. It can integrate any of the things that I showed you so far, and then you're going to be eligible for that award. Any questions, Lucy? Can we act like contributors? Do we constantly keep making apps or so? Yeah, I mean, obviously you can use this to build as many apps as you want, and the minute you register for our platform, you can build as many apps as you want with our tech. Rebecca is asking, will we have free access to the Echo AR even after the hackathon? Yeah, so we are extending, we're extending specifically for the winners, but everyone else who wants the free access to continue, you can always email us, and we'll just mention that you got to us through Tech Hacks, and we'll happily extend that for all of you. Is there a guide on how to write code in Unity for models? Yes. So again, our documentation, maybe I'll send you specifically that Unity link. There's literally Unity/edit code that will allow you to see how you can write and add things for Unity. If you want to send me a project to Echo AR, yeah, that's true. Just make sure you click the right thing on dev post. Perfect. If there's any more questions, feel free to write them here. If not, feel free always to reach us through our Slack channel. So remember, in order to get to our Slack channel, you just go to the console. Where's the console? I don't have it open anymore. Yeah, there you go. Click here, redirect to our Slack, and you'll be able to ask our support team for help. Start building amazing things. I can't wait to see what you're all going to build. I'm super excited to see that and judge that competition. Thank you so much for being in this workshop. Stay safe, healthy, and sane, and start building. Thank you.
Well, that was quite an insight.
Thanks so much. Yeah, like I really enjoyed it, how exactly we could make up AR and VR stuff in entirely 20 minutes, and the entire framework has been developed by Echo AR. So even Echo AR is one. So thanks to Echo AR for this thing.
Yes. So with this, we are moving to the most exciting event of the day. That is the Quiz 2 surprise event. For this quiz also, the rules are the same. Link will be flashed on your screen. You just have to go on that link, answer the questions, and get a chance to win goodies. So let's begin with the quiz now.
Yeah.
Thank you all for attending the
So
quiz. We hope you enjoyed the surprise as much as we did. What about you, Harsh?
it was an exciting session and tiring as well.
Yes.
Let's not
Also,
forget
these
the kind of effort entire 120 plus DSCs have
truly,
poured in. So kudos to the 120 plus DSCs.
truly. Just an update on the quiz results. The results for all the quiz that were held today will be announced on our Discord channel. So make sure to tune in to our Discord server of DSC WOW. Link will be in the description. So with this, we end day 4. And
Well, before we end day 4, we do have a surprise for everyone.
well, what is it?
So let's, yeah. So like people did kind of put in efforts. A special kudos to Anirudh. Anirudh, say
And
hi.
for those of you who don't know, Anirudh and Samar
Anirudh,
mostly handling the back end part of this live sessions. Samar is not here with us, but like mentioned to him as well. We also have Sanket and Piyush with us.
so kudos to Sanket for this amazing idea of organizing the SUO. Let's
Truly,
wow.
let's wow.
It wouldn't have been like possible without
It
you
was
guys
all
alone.
because of you.
Well, we five are
Yeah.
just presenting all 120 plus leads that have been working hard day and night. So kudos to all of them as well.
Let's have them once on a screen. Us,
Yes.
Let's just
Ron.
add them up and let's see how excited those folks are. I guess we all should join in along with them, right?
Sure.
What do you folks think? All right, folks,
Definitely.
give us like 2 minutes and Anirudh, just stay in
I,
the back end because you are the one who's handling this.
yeah, 1 minute. Just change the
And do
tab.
join the Google Meet as well. Okay,
Sure.
okay. I'm changing the tab and here it goes.
And let's have everyone on the screen. Now, yeah, they are with us and they will be live. Just, yeah.
Hello, everyone.
I believe these are the people from all around the India and different
Yes.
parts.
It's the hard work of all these leads which has led to a successful completion of these 4 days of workshops. And we have planned a more 3 days event for you. So stay tuned. Tomorrow we'll be right back.
So
So
before we end, folks, don't forget
let's
to let's
let's
wow.
wow. Let's now end the so
Thank
over
you
to
all
you.
for joining in.